Hello, hello,
Hey guys,
everyone.
welcome back to Real Talk Rates and Repeat with your hosts Gary and Queenie. We're excited for this is our first episode of season 2. So we took a short hiatus to sort of come up with a new format, a little bit of rebrand, and I hope you guys enjoy what's about to come out. So since you guys have last heard from us, Queenie, anything new on your end that you want to talk about?
Well, we have our new bloopers and our promo video, so hopefully you guys had all watched that too, because I personally think it's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sets the tone for the season as well. So if you haven't watched it yet, check out our page and take a look, leave a comment. Um, that's about it. I mean, the new year kind of just segued into from last year. I feel like,
Yeah.
and things haven't really slowed down. We've been just as busy. Like I don't know. I think we're just kind of where we are.
Well, we didn't get a chance to say Happy New Year and Happy Lunar New Year to everybody because by the time this comes out, it'll be after Lunar New Year.
Oh yeah, happy Lunar New Year. That's a big one.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's the year of the horse.
So just a little quick tidbit on that. Not that I'm some fortune teller or really good at this stuff, but apparently the year of the horse is going to be good for everyone. I'm sure at some point in the last 2 or 3 years, someone had said, hey, Mercury's in retrograde, things are kind of like not jiving and, just not perfect. Apparently, last year, or up until still right now, it was the year of the snake. So, what do snakes do? They molt. They shed their old skin. So it's kind of like we're shedding all of the bad stuff and like kind of embracing our new self for the new year,
Okay.
going into the year of the horse, which is it's symbolic of a very fierce, powerful, strong animal that for everyone, 2026 is supposed to be a very good year because you're getting rid of all the bad, all the negativity from last year, and we're going into just a very vibrant, strong new year. And it's also the year of the fire horse, which is a double strength because now we're just kind of like going full force ahead. And the fire horse doesn't come across very easily. It's I think it's like every 60 years or something you come across the year of the fire horse. So anyway, that's my little
That's
fortune telling.
interesting to say the least. I didn't know all that.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, I
very
mean,
into that stuff. Anyway,
well, it's a year of the horse. My wife's last name is Ma, which means horse in Chinese. So I don't know what that has to do with
she's gonna
anything,
have an
but
amazing year. Yeah, you
okay.
just stay next to her all the time. You're gonna rub off on some of that good luck.
There you go. That's what we'll do. Anyway, so let's just start it. So we are coming out with a new format. This is relatively pretty new. It is what we are affectionately calling it the Chaos Corner, where we're going to be reading stories that are sent in that we basically badgered our friends to tell us stories, their worst stories of real estate, and there's a lot of them. So we're going to read maybe one, maybe two today, and then we're going to discuss and we're going to talk about it. But we would love to hear sort of your inputs on what you think. So the first story comes to us from New Jersey in Bergen County. We're not going to say the real estate agent's name. They didn't give us permission. But okay, let's see. He went to take a look at a house before bringing my client to make sure that it would work for them. It was a nice neighborhood, but the layout was a little bit weird. It was an empty house and it was a sunny day. Goes to the front door and all the lights were on. That's weird. Sometimes realtors leave the lights on prior to show the home better. We walked over to the kitchen and there was a pot of water in it and some foil on the
Oh
counter.
my God.
At this point, I should have left, but I wanted to ensure the home wasn't being squatted in. I went upstairs to check, and right when my head poked above the landing, 3 steps away, the bathroom door was wide open. I saw someone on the toilet taking a dump while cooking drugs on foil with a lighter. He freaked out and slammed the door shut. I then hear some racket and a scream. Again, I should have left, but I was already committed and wanted to see
Committed.
this.
Wow, that's some commitment. I love it.
He opens the door and it's empty. When the window's open, the foil and the drugs are all gone. The guy
Did it
jumped.
stink though from the dump that your friend, I mean that the squatter took?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that was the last one. But he goes, the guy jumped out of a second story window mid poop and ran off. The
Oh my
police
God.
the police were called and he went home for the day.
Okay.
All right, let's dissect that.
Okay, so my first thought, not to be, just the disgusting one here, but I'm very curious about the mid poop. Like, did your friend end up having to flush for the person? Like, these are all follow-up questions that I would like if you two can ask him and get me answers for. Like, did the place sink? Did he have to flush for the guy who jumped out of the second floor window? Like, what happened? I want to play by play by like the second.
I like
And
the
this,
fact that you're more concerned about like the overall like smell.
I'm very concerned about the poop right now.
It wasn't about, oh my God, did they destroy anything else in the house?
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's my follow-up question.
was there anything else? Did you find any clothes? Did you find like your things like, oh, did he flush? Like, I'm not worried about him flushing. I'm like, did he even wipe? Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. It's all of that. But then, like, your friend wouldn't know if he wiped, but your friend can tell us, like, did he flush? Did the place stink? Like, it's more realistic questions. But on, like, okay, in all seriousness, though, like, I mean, that's the first thing I thought of. But the second more important thing is this goes to tell how dangerous it is when you go to do a listing or a showing or a tour at a property by yourself as an
Yeah,
agent, right? Because
yeah.
you don't know what you're gonna open the door to. Like, this is
Well,
obviously very extreme, but like, I'm sure your friend wasn't expecting
I don't think anybody's expecting.
any of this,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's dangerous because I mean, it's one thing because the guy jumped out the second floor window, but what if he didn't and he just like
There. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
right?
they're homeless drug users. Like you don't know like what their mental state is. They could just literally just attack you. And
Yeah.
what's crazy is that this is not like the first story or incidents of us hearing of like
Mm-hmm.
squatting or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy, like especially a lot of these homes, like you're basically advertising sometimes that there's nobody home because you put literally for sale signs outside. So somebody's
That
probably
is
driving
true. Yeah.
by, they see it, they're like, they look in the window first. They could obviously act as like, oh, I'm an interested home buyer. Let me look through the
Mm-hmm.
window. Um,
And
yeah, I mean,
and
that's
honestly, it
crazy.
doesn't take a lot to like realize that the home is vacant. Like
Yeah.
you see the sign, that's already like you said, it's like a welcome sign, right? It's an
Hmm.
advertisement saying, hey, like it's potentially vacant now. And then all you have to do is really look through the window or just kind of like hang around for a few hours to see if there's any, foot traffic or whatnot. And it's just it it's a target. It's a huge target for squatters, for homeless people. I mean, in this case, your friend kind of got the worst of it all, someone homeless that's a drug user. Um, again, it's all funny and stuff because of what he ran into, but in actuality, that was a very dangerous situation.
It was dangerous. And imagine, like, I'm not trying to be like sexist or anything like that, but I mean, he's a male, right? He's a male.
Exactly.
We
Hmm.
walked into it. Now imagine you're, a smaller, more petite, like woman, right? Real estate
Yeah.
agent. You walk in and you see this, and the guy doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
scary right there. Like, that is, but like I said, from what we are seeing and hearing, it seems like it's a little bit more common than you would think, which is
Hmm.
very, very scary. How do you protect yourselves in that? Like, should they bring somebody with them all the time? Like, should they leave the
So,
door open? Should they leave the door open before they make sure that everybody's like, that there's nobody in the house? Like, what do you do in that instance? And by the way, I did text him and he just, he texted me back very quick. He said that
about
it
the
was a
poop.
court, yes,
Oh,
about whether he flushed or not. So quick follow up. Thank you. He said he's too visual to even remember. He had to block it out. It was rough thinking back to it.
I mean, like we're joking about it, but I'm sure being the person that experienced it, just that initial like fear, right? Regardless if you're a man or a woman or like how big you are, like there's still that like that fear factor when that happens. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
not expecting to see someone, you're not expecting to see someone in that state. Like it's just, it's all a big, it's a shock. So I'm sure
Oh,
your
so
friend's not like, thrilled to relive it.
no, I mean, how would you feel too? Like if you are the seller and you get a call like that from your agent, like, hey, not to scare you off, but the police just left here. Oh, what happened? Well, we have a squatter that was doing drugs in the bathroom. Like,
Well, honestly, if I was a seller, and I would be very thankful to the agent
of
because
course.
I would be like, you know what, like thank you so much for checking in on the property, for calling the police, for dealing with this,
Mm-hmm.
like it and I'm not saying, hey, all the agents out there, put yourself in a dangerous position so your seller could be thankful of you, but it is a testament to the commitment that a lot of real estate agents have for their job because
Yeah.
they don't just wear one hat where it's like, oh, give me your listing. I'm going to show it during your open house. That's it. Right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of follow-up. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of maintenance. There's a lot of planning that goes along with being a listing agent.
Yeah. There's a lot of personal time that should take away
A
from your
lot of
thing.
personal time. It's not
Yeah.
just like the one appointment that they make with the seller to get the listing and then afterwards just the open houses, right? Like
Yeah.
all the maintenance and preparation that leads up to that. I think a lot of people don't really know the amount of work that agents really put in.
No, even like this, like going to the house after, like after an agent already showed it, just to make sure that everything is turned off, everything is fine. Like these are things that an agent, if they care or they're
Yeah.
professional, they want to make sure that the house is in its most presentable state. Going like that is obviously, like you said, it's a shock, and you're not expecting anybody to be there, let alone cooking drugs, and third of all,
And pooping.
yeah, pooping.
But it's also like the first thing you said was that, your friend saw that and then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to keep going in because I'm committed. Like that's part of his job. He needs to make sure the house is good.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he
yeah.
did what he felt like was his responsibility to the seller. And, what I was gonna say before is a lot of times what people recommend is really like don't go to these houses by yourself. You should
Mm-hmm.
bring someone. You shouldn't go at night. You should, have the proper precautions before entering. Like, I don't know what time of the day it was and stuff like that when your friend popped in there, right? But there's you can't always have like a friend or a partner with you all the time. But then
Right.
if that's the case, like don't go at night. Make sure, like you said, keep the door open.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure people know that you're going there,
Yeah, be
right?
on the phone. Be on the phone with somebody while you're walking through the house,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
that's like so important.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, especially what's crazy, not to go off topic, but remember like right during like around COVID time, and like you would hear these stories about like real estate agents, especially Asian real estate agents going to houses, and like they're just experiencing like these crazy like racist things. People are coming in like sort of attacking them. It's just like, oh, there's a very big need to like carry like personal protection, learn self-defense and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And then you know as you go along, you hear these other news of horrible stories of like people being attacked at open houses just because they're like by themselves, and it's like a prime opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think obviously being aware of your surrounding, being aware of people that are coming into your open house, but also having that level of protection that you might want to carry, so important these days.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And like you said before about like, if you can't have someone go with you, especially if you are going later in the evening or whatnot, um, have someone on the phone with you, right? Like just not even about going to a listing, right? Like sometimes if I'm walking home from the train station and it's nighttime, right? I would be on the phone. You know, of course I wouldn't have like two headsets on and listening to music, so like everything's drowned out, but I would
Hmm.
have like one headset on and like be on the phone or like be very purposeful to show people that, oh, I'm actually talking to someone, right? So it's just now, yeah, like, are you still in a vulnerable state because you're by yourself? Yes. But knowing that there's someone else that can, like, call the police right away or anything were to happen, it kind of deters other people from doing anything to you.
Hmm.
So, you know, if you can do that, that's one of the things that you should
Yeah.
do.
Oh, 100%. So I think that was the story that I wanted to share. That was pretty crazy. We've got a few more. I don't know if you want to go into another one or just be like,
Um, I mean, I kind of I have a lot. Well, your friend already said he doesn't want to think about it. So I was like, I have so many questions for him. But no, I think that's like this is gonna be like our safety episode, right? Like, you know,
hmm
it's just it kind of really just brings everything to the forefront on that. It's kind of funny because I have some stories that's similar to that. Not
hmm
that I've experienced, but I've heard from other people I've worked with and agents.
yeah,
So mine is a little bit more on like a funnier end because this was like maybe 10 years ago. Some agent had told me she had a listing in like a penthouse, like a really nice penthouse in Manhattan. And she went to bring someone to see it. So it wasn't an open house, it was
the showing.
a showing. Yeah, like they made an appointment, so like, yeah, you know, we'll go. And the seller, it was like I can't remember exactly if the seller still lived there or if it was just like used as like a pied a terre or something like that. But when she went to show the property, um, they were like shooting a porno in there.
No. Ooh.
Yeah, so she kind of like brought her client in and then like it was just yeah, all of that. So, that's less dangerous, just more a little more funny. Because this is like a penthouse in Manhattan, right? So it's a building. There's a certain level of surveillance and safety involved with that.
hmm Yeah.
But that's also something you don't expect to walk into when you're bringing a client to a listing, right? I mean, someone would probably ask, like, okay, well, did she tell the seller she was coming? You know, because like, why would they be doing that? But I'm sure there was a reason why
No,
she either didn't
yeah.
feel like she needed to tell the seller, or maybe it was supposed to be vacant, or whatever the case was. But she did walk into a full blown porn
Session.
set.
You were definitely trying to find the right words for it. Not
You know,
gonna hold.
because it's like you can't like, just saying that it was a set makes it a little underwhelming compared to what it actually was. It's one thing to walk into like a movie set of someone just like having dinner at the dinner table, right?
Well, I'm assuming a lot
The
of these, a
former.
lot, yeah, I'm assuming a lot of these performers, and I'm assuming this is probably one of those OnlyFans type of deals that they probably
This was
rent
10
out.
years ago. There was no OnlyFans,
I don't know.
but you
That
know, I
that's
and
crazy. So there's a few questions that I have. Like, okay, so so it was a pied a terre, or it was, or where the guy lived. We're not too sure, right?
I'm not too sure, but it definitely wasn't. I'm assuming it wasn't like vacant because for you to have a set like that, there has to be furniture, right?
Well, that was part of the question. Like, were they using a staged furniture? Like imagine you're the stager. You're like, all right, I'm gonna put this in the house, and the agent's like, you might want to wash that after. Wait, what?
I think it was more pied a terre because um unless the people involved, whether on the production end or the front end, were the sellers, then I would imagine it being a pied a terre versus a primary residence, right? Because
hmm
imagine it was the primary residence, but then the people involved in this production wasn't the sellers. Like that
That
would
would just be
really
weird.
suck.
That'd
So
be having to having to clean that up. Oh God.
I don't even.
Like, I'm like
Yeah, so
bleach
yeah,
and
that's
twice.
that's also another time, like one of those things that like you don't expect, but happens when you're in this industry because you're so forward facing as a real estate agent. You're like in the trenches, you have to go out there, you meet the client, you
Yeah,
see the property, you see tons of properties, right? Whether you're on the buy or sell side. So you've
yeah.
got to come across like all all types of crap that's not, normal. Speaking of crap, like,
We're going
how
back to the
many
poopy story. Oh God.
no, but like how often do you hear about an agent going into a property and being like, wow, this is a dump. There's like dog shit everywhere, and there's like this and that, and this person's like a hoarder, right?
Okay, so on the poopy topic, okay, on the poopy topic,
I don't know
I
what's
have
wrong with us today.
I have this shirt. I have this shirt. I've had this shirt for a little bit. It just happened, coincidence, that this is what the shirt says.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
All right. So for the people that are not watching on YouTube and listening to us, I have a black shirt that says "I poop at open houses"
I don't believe that's coincidence. Like, how do you just have that? You
because
actively
so
went and bought it. You
no no no
you
no
went and
my
bought it. You saw it and you're
no
like, oh.
no my
I
wife
like
made it.
poop. I like open houses.
My wife made it because one of my best friends, he wanted a shirt made that says "Don't poop at my open house." So I, because he's my friend, decided to make a shirt that says "I poop at open houses."
Of course, that's something you would do.
Oh, 100%,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
I love doing that type of stuff with my friends. So that's why I have it. And it just so happens to be right next to me as we're talking about the story. And I had to bring it up because I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny.
That's very funny. Fit right in. Now we all know what you like to do.
I mean, I just like to bust people's chops. You know, but yeah, going back and let's go back to that, right? But I think your condo porno set deal. I know, and I mean, it's not shocking for people to have sex in an apartment, obviously, right? It's shocking for them to be there while you have a showing.
Yes. I
Like,
mean, that's the funny part of it. Everyone, the idea, there's a bed, it's an apartment, they're having sex on it. It's fine. But you you usually don't expect like two or three strangers to walk in. On both ends, there's shock, right? Like if I'm walking into it, I'd be like, what in the world? And
I
then on the
mean,
other end, it's also like, holy cow, like so
I
it's
mean, I would just like to know sort of like what was going on while they're going through, because obviously the process of a tour, you walk in, and obviously the first step isn't to go right to the bedroom, right?
yeah.
You're coming
Like what did
in,
they
you're
hear, right? Was it loud,
right,
right?
yeah. Yeah, did you hear something where you're like, oh, what is that? Oh, it must be upstairs neighbors or something, right? Oh, why are there so many shoes on the ground?
I don't know.
I'm
They
sorry.
probably didn't take their shoes off, but
Uh,
um,
Not an Asian
that
household,
that's the
so
Asian in you speaking,
yeah, it was. It was.
expecting to see shoes the second you like walk into through the front door.
Yeah, that would have
Um,
been my first clue. I'm like, oh my God, there's people here. No?
See, I don't even remember who the agent was who told me the story. It was like so many years ago, but I do remember it was early in my career, and it's also a very bizarre story, so I remember it. Um, but it, yeah, I can't even reference back to ask follow-up questions. So, you know what? If for some weird reason
It
you
just
are
comes
that
up out of the
agent
blue.
that told me this 15, 20 years ago, and you just so happen to be listening to this episode, reach out to me because I have a lot of follow-up questions for you. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
Like, did you guys continue with the tour, or did you guys leave right after? Or I don't know. It's there's so
Yeah,
many questions.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But, I wanted to bring a less
Less serious.
scary,
Yeah.
dangerous spin to your friends, right?
So I get what would be the practical takeaway for something like that?
I would say double check with your seller that you can go show the property. Because unless this is like a squatting production crew, like
They're most
chances are the seller knew, right?
yeah,
About
100%.
this happening.
Yeah, with a
Yeah.
doorman like getting let up,
Yeah. Yeah.
going into the apartment, and like they just probably had the schedule mixed up. It's like, oh, they're supposed to shoot tomorrow, not today. But
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Come to think of it, there was like a Sex in the City episode that was similar to this silly question. I'm gonna ask it anyway. Did you watch Sex in the City, Gary?
no, I mean
Okay.
this is more like Sex in the Condo, but okay.
Um,
Watch Sex in
so
the
there was
City.
an for the Sex and the City fans out there, there was this episode where someone took Samantha back to an apartment to have sex, and then it turns out that the apartment was being listed for sale, and then the real estate agent came in and showed it or something like that. So it's actually very similar to that. It's just people just like having sex in random places. What is our podcast turning into?
I don't know, but I'm just like sitting there thinking, pied a terre, which is, it's a vacation property. I'm like, just imagine how many people rent out your Airbnb and
Yeah.
just,
Oh, Airbnb was pretty big then. Maybe it was like an Airbnb situation, right? Like if I was a seller, I
Mhm.
don't live there, I'm listing it, maybe they did rent it out for like a night, right? And like when
They-
Airbnb first started in New York City, it was actually really expensive.
I'm assuming they
Yeah,
probably did that just because, you can't rent out a hotel because your hotel, you have a lot of like security and all that stuff.
right, right.
And this
Yeah,
is a private apartment building, so I'm assuming that's why they did it. I mean, I don't know. But
so
it's, yeah,
funny. Yeah.
but it's still, but how does that affect like the sale? Does that affect anything?
I don't think so, because it's like it's not like they're damaging the property. Like they're just
But
because it goes back to
imagine
the
you're the
same
guy.
like your friend, right? With like
Huh.
the squatter. Is that gonna affect the sale?
I mean, I'm probably not the sale. It's just probably like a little bit of hesitance. But like, I'm just thinking about like, yeah, man, imagine somebody bought that property and they're lonely one night and they go online and they look up stuff and then all of a sudden they're watching something and they're just like, oh, wait,
This looks familiar.
that looks
As there's
familiar, and it's their apartment. Like, how would you feel?
it's not like they're keeping the furniture, right? So like how
No, no,
can you recognize an apartment unless there's some like very specific like
yeah,
nook or window or whatnot? Like can you really like without the same furniture, it's really just a wall, right?
yeah, yeah. It's really just a wall, unless they're like by a window and there's a very specific like view. Like if you had a view of, let's say, Times Square and like you're like, okay, you pretty much know. But like, yeah, if you're just staring out at other windows, then yeah, you probably never know. But
Yeah.
it would just be kind of weird if you're just sitting there and just like, oh wait, that's my apartment. Ooh, it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know how well this episode's gonna be received for our first of season 2.
Um, yeah, I mean, this isn't an indication of what all of our episodes are gonna be about, but Gary just picked a really good one, a really good story to start off. So,
Well,
yeah.
so I think that's it for the Chaos Corner. Anything else you want to add, Queenie? I
I
don't.
think I think we already have too much input for this episode.
Man, We've really,
TMI, too much
we've really went down.
in some
We've
weird rabbit
really,
hole.
yeah,
Yeah.
we've really resorted to poopy talk for our first episode.
Yeah, scandalous. We still, we still talk about real estate. That's really our main focus, for the listeners out there. We're still staying very true
We're
to,
staying very true to Real Talk
yeah.
Rates and Reviews.
Well,
You
this
know,
is our real talk, right? Like
this is
this
definitely
is
Real
like
Talk.
reality. This is what happens. I mean, we're not we didn't really talk about rates, but
What is there really to talk about rates?
rates are boring.
Rates are
It's
boring.
fine. Yeah.
Rates are boring. This is so much more fun talking about this. Um, but I think that's it for the stories that we want to share this week. If you guys have any other stories that you think that you'd want to hear on this podcast, or for us to dissect, or to just share, because you've had something crazy that probably nobody's ever experienced before, hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah, any stories that you've gone through, you've heard even, or like Gary said, that you want us to even, just talk about the topic you want us to talk about. Um, Message us, shoot us a DM, leave us a comment, whatever, and we will 100% get to it and talk about it. Because, it's fun. Talk about other
Yep.
people's stories. Uh, um, but until next time, we are still resuming our, every other Thursday episode, right? The
Every other Thursday.
schedule doesn't change. But we're just hoping to make it a little more engaging.
Yeah, a little bit more fun, a little bit more fun, a
Yeah.
little bit more different. Hope you guys like it. Let us know if you don't. Also, let us know if we should start a podcast dedicated Instagram. Let us know.
Yep. Thank you
Uh,
guys.
thank
See
you.
ya in
Until next
2
time,
weeks. Bye.
signing off. Bye.